webmaster at MoneyWeb, who now is living with her husband in Australia, had to come back last month. Her grandparents were murdered in London. It's almost like there's a new wave of crime that's going on, but it doesn't affect any stock markets or anything like that.
No, I don't think it's a new wave of crime.
Well, a rejuvenation of the crime wave.
Yeah. It's just that there are high-profile people involved.
Well, we're going to talk to Michael tonight and just get a view. You know, what does a young family or young family man like that, who goes through the trauma that he's been through, clearly, at gunpoint, followed home, taken his wife, his young babies, screaming, put onto the floor and things like that. What does a guy like that do after that kind of experience? Do you pack up and leave?
Well, you can't. You know, it's very hard to come to terms with it unless you faced it. So you can't. Yeah.
Should be an interesting discussion. But David, as far as the stock market is concerned,
I think global markets up. There's a much better feeling now about the global economy. There's a huge struggle ahead of us. I don't think this is going to be a fast fix. I think it's going to take many years to get it right. But I think what people are believing is that we've seen the worst. And Alex, so much money has been on the side. So many people have been underexposed or underweight in the market that money's trickling in, and it doesn't, and that trickle is just enough to give the market
more than a trickle today, 2% on the 2%. JSE. Well, but maybe these American banks are doing a lot better than people thought they were going to do.
I think also a lot of that might have to do with the the write-offs. They don't have to, the IFRS, I've gone blank. The
International Financial Reporting Standards.
Yeah. In other words, you don't have to mark to market. So they've been
technical stuff which
very technical
affects the bottom line numbers.
It means that you don't have to write off to market as much as you might have in the past.
So if you're owning financial shares today, you had a good day, nearly 4% up.
Sure. And also what's interesting, Alec, is a lot of the shares that led this market down, Old Mutual, SAPI, Liberty International, are now leading the recovery. So there's been quite a big turnaround in many of our shares. And the good thing is that it's widespread. It's across all sectors that the buying's taking place.
Yeah, SAPI, a 13% jump today.
And that's interesting and this will affect you as well. I mean, you'll be interested. If you looked in the FT today, the Financial Times, there was an article about ad spend being down double-digit in newspapers and in magazines. In other words, it's going to affect demand for paper like SAPI,
Yeah, and media, the media companies as well. Overall,
Internet up, eh?
Yeah, Internet up. Global ad spend down 6%, and being hardest hit newspapers. You got to really feel for people who are in that sector, because there just doesn't seem to be any way out at the moment.
No, you've got to wait for the global economy to turn. And consumer spending to pick up again before that really picks up.
But the JSE had a good day today. Some shares that are reliant on consumer spending doing particularly well. You think of something like Gold Reef Resorts up 6% today. Altec had a pretty positive trading update, David.
Yeah, it's Altec seems to be doing better than its parent company, Eltron, I think, which is affected by the cable company. Most of the cable companies caught on the wrong side of the copper price, and that's affected them. So Altec seems better positioned than Eltron.
So at this point in time, the Qantas money's in the wrong place in the family, because they're in Eltron. Usually the best thing is to go with
where the money is, where their money is, where the family money is.
But there still are. Well, I see that Grand Parade was up quite nicely. That's also consumer-related stock because of the investment it has in the Grand West Casino. Up 17% today.
If you think about it, petrol prices down. I mean, year on year. Okay, we've had a kick up recently, but interest rates are going to come down quite dramatically. The market's looking for another 2.5%. So I think with more money in the consumer pocket, I think there's a belief that we'll see a pickup here. Our consumers are not in any way as badly affected as the rest of the world. We've really been hurt. So house prices have come down dramatically there. We haven't seen anything near that in our markets. I think there's not as bad a feeling in our economy as we're seeing in the rest of the world.
You and I are going to get a upfront view of the rest of the world when we go off to Berkshire Hathaway. Warren Buffett's annual general meeting in Omaha. It's on the 2nd of May this year, always the first Saturday of May. And you're leaving on Friday?
I'm leaving Friday, yeah. I'm running the Boston Marathon on Monday, so I'm not sure I'm going to make Berkshire Hathaway. But
you made it last year, only just because of the weather. Yeah. But last year there were 31,000 people who attended there. And what I'm doing this year, Dave, every year I come back and give presentations to selected audiences from the sponsors, and rightfully so, because they pay for the trip. But this year we are going to open up to the MoneyWeb community and we're going to have a breakfast at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange on the 8th. So that's the Friday. We get back, I think I get back on the Wednesday morning, and then on the Friday morning we're going to have a presentation at the JSE. I hope you're going to, I can twist your arm to come along and give your thoughts.
No, of course.
Well.
To me, it's financial rehab. There's so much that you learn from the 8 hours that you take questions. You're lucky because you're going to the press conference, which is the next day. But I think this year, particularly, it's going to be very, very interesting.
I cracked accreditation this year. You know, he only gives about 60 people get accredited. 2 years ago, I was accredited. Last year, I didn't get it. And this year they've accredited me again. So it seems like you get it every alternate.
And it's going. You know, they're opening up the. They've got 3 journalists this time, and so it's not going to be only from the floor. So you're going to get more pointed questions from that they have collected from the investors and from the community.
So if you'd like to book for that breakfast, go onto the MoneyWeb website. It's an early start. You can get there at 6:30. Have your muffins and coffee, and then we'll start talking from 7. After questions, we should be finished around 8:30 at the latest. You can get into the office in time for your boss to say what a smart person you are to be quoting Warren Buffett on that's Friday the 8th of May. Go onto the MoneyWeb website and you'll see halfway down the homepage there's a place where you can book.
If you were invested in the JSE All Share Index, you could have lost 24